Things are starting to get very interesting in free agency. The top shortstop on the market, Willy Adames, is headed to San Francisco. The Giants are giving him a 7-year, $182 million contract in what is the highest deal in franchise history. It's a little funny, right, that the Athletics, the team that was in the Bay Area with the Giants, those two teams within the last couple of days have both announced record-setting contracts for their franchise. It is kind of funny. Yeah, $26 million AAV for Willy Adames is one of the biggest dominoes comes off the board. Again, I know a lot of people are waiting on Juan Soto, myself included, but like we said, this is the number one shortstop on the market, and the Giants get him $26 million AAV. They will be giving him a $22 million signing bonus. So when you factor that in, it's probably going to be a little bit less than 26 on average per year. I'm going to be honest, I'm a little bit surprised by this move. Now, I think we knew the Giants, with Buster Posey making the front office decisions now, they're going to be a little bit more aggressive. Whenever guys get in that big chair, we always see moves being made. They want an impact right away. You don't want to get a new job and then sit blindly by and not do anything to make your team better. That doesn't send a good first impression. But there was also the talk that the Giants would not really want to go after a guy who received a qualifying offer. As you guys know, there's penalties when you do that. In the Giants' case, they would lose $500,000 in international signing pool bonus money, and they would also forfeit their number 2 pick in this upcoming draft. So that apparently is not true, as Willy Adames did receive one from the Brewers, and the Giants will now have to pay that penalty alongside $26 million on average per year for Willy Adames, who I think is a good player, but I have questions. I have some concerns. He's a high power guy. You know, characteristically, when you think of a shortstop, Willy Adames is probably not what you think of. Adames has hit 31, 24, and 32 home runs in each of the last 3 seasons. That's a lot for a shortstop. No kidding. When you look down at the plate skills, he's an interesting guy. He strikes out a decent bit, 25 to 26% throughout the last 3 years. He's been in Milwaukee since the midway point of 2021 when the Rays traded him over there, and he really has set his career ablaze ever since going to Milwaukee. It's kind of weird to see the metrics because he's a rare breed of a guy that will strike out. He'll whiff, swing and miss, and chase balls out of the strike zone, but he also walks 10.8% in 2024 and 11.1% in 2023. So you're talking about maybe not the most disciplined hitter, but gives you around 30 home runs. And he's been known to be one of the biggest high leverage guys in baseball. That's why a lot of Brewer fans really loved Willy Adames. It seemed almost every time when they needed a big hit, when there's runners in scoring position and Adames was up to bat, he would bring them home. So I think the Giants definitely are taking that into consideration. Where I draw a little bit of concern here is the defense. Now, Adames said that he would potentially look at playing a different position outside of shortstop for the right team. And I'm guessing the right team would be anybody giving him close to $200 million. The weird thing is, prior to this past season, you would think Adames is kind of a Gold Glove caliber shortstop. He had 9 defensive runs saved and 10 outs above average in 2022, 8 defensive runs saved, 16 outs above average in 2023. But this past year, he had negative 16 defensive runs saved and all the way down to 0 outs above average. I mean, from a year ago, that's a nearly minus 20 on defensive runs saved and outs above average. Now, these advanced defensive metrics always come with a degree of skepticism because they are still a bit subjective. It's not like a home run. If the ball went over the wall, it's a home run, right? You know, what is a defensive run save? What is an out above average? What is an error? These are all inherently subjective, and we've seen great defenders have outlier years where for one reason or another the metrics just don't quite match up. But this is drastic, and I think the eye test showed that as well. He did not look as good and as sound of a defender as we'd seen previously. Even back in Tampa, Adames was known as a pretty short glove there in the hole. Now coming to the Giants, he's presumably going to play shortstop. They have Tyler Fitzgerald, who mainly got the job last year, although he himself, if you look at the metrics, did not perform all that well. -6 defensive runs saved, -4 outs above average. I'm assuming he'll be slotted in at shortstop right next to Matt Chapman at third base. Of course, you know, he might help a little bit. One of the best third basemen we've ever seen play that position is definitely going to help shorten the load. But I don't think in a 7-year deal, Adames is realistically expected to play shortstop all this time. You know, his athleticism is only going down from here. Currently, Willy Adames is just 29 years old, a bit younger than normal, or actually about the right age to hit free agency. But, you know, once you get into those 30s, you know, you're not going to be quite as quick. Reaction time diminishes as well. It happens to basically everybody. There are exceptions to the rule. But this is just interesting for the Giants, who we're not in on Juan Soto necessarily. They weren't in on the highest ticket free agents, but we have heard them in the rumors for guys like Corbin Burns. But if there's already talk, and it could have been just false rumors, that the Giants wouldn't want a player with that qualifying offer ticket that would, you know, cost them draft picks, I can't foresee them going after a second guy who received a qualifying offer like Corbin Burns. It's interesting. I think the Giants have a lot going for them. In the grand scheme, $26 million still sounds like a lot of money. You know, growing up when I did, or especially people who grew up before I did, that would sound like blasphemous that, you know, we're having any skepticism a $26 million player should be, you know, a surefire Hall of Famer. That's just not where baseball, it's not where the economy is anymore. You know, we're seeing good players make that kind of money. You don't have to be an all-time great to receive that kind of contract. I am just a little bit skeptical of this. I think in the short term, good, but long term, there is some reason for me to believe that this might not be the best contract, but I hope I'm wrong. You know, whenever I see teams offer players money like this, I want to see it work out for them. So hopefully it does for the Giants. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Willy Adames headed to the Bay, headed to San Francisco. You know, the NL West is definitely going to be tough still. You've got the reigning World Series champs and the Dodgers. The Padres are still there. You've got the Diamondbacks who, you know, don't forget, they just won the National League pennant a year ago, and last year just barely missed out on the playoffs, had lots of injuries, kind of had a slow start, but really came on towards the second half before they fell apart again. It's going to be interesting. So let me know what you guys think about the Giants. So things are starting to pick up. And promise me, once Juan Soto is crossed off that list, once we finally have him out of the way, I think we're just going to see tons of new signees pouring in. I think a lot of the market is really waiting for him. You know, the big markets are waiting to see if they're going to have $700 million going his way, or if they can spend that on 3 or 4 players. So let me know, once again, what you guys think about Willy Adames headed over to the San Francisco Giants. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Do you wish your team could have had him? And thank you guys for watching this video.